This is Saúl Canelo Alvarez.
Danger.
This is Terence "Bud" Crawford. Canelo versus Crawford. A true super fight.
The Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez clash is unreal. Relive the top highlights of the fight week and hear what the experts predicted.
Hagler and Leonard and Duran and Tommy Hearns and those kind of fighters, and by the way, Sanchez and Gomez and the great fights from years ago. This is one of those, and you're all a part of it.
They said a fight was born long before the bell, in the mornings when the city was still half asleep, and two men chose, separately, to put their bodies through the small, relentless torments that made legends. And during that camp, Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez were deep inside those rituals, each team a world unto itself. Crawford's preparation had looked like a focused transformation, moving up in weight to meet Canelo at super middle, and he rebuilt his body with a careful gain that was not just about adding size, but about keeping the slippery speed and precision that had kept him unbeaten. His trainers adjusted strength and nutrition so those extra pounds read as power rather than ballast. His sparring was with bigger men, and his conditioning was tailored to sustain the movement that let him pick shots and disappear. On the other side, Canelo's camp felt like a masterclass in measured intensity. He did the obvious work, pads, mitts, rounds on the bag, but he also mixed in unconventional drills that spoke to a career of hard-earned instincts. He kicked a soccer ball to keep feet quick and vision sharp and alternated technical drilling, with moments that reminded everyone he remained an elite athlete at 168 pounds. Both camps released teasers, and the narrative wrote itself. The compact ring schooled sharpshooter versus the veteran championship frame, but beneath the clips and the hype, the day-to-day grind was unnervingly similar for both fighters. Size and history complicated the clean story. Canelo brought weight, championship experience, and the aura of a man who had weathered every storm. Crawford brought an unbeaten ledger, ring IQ, and a willingness to hunt a risky victory that could entrench him among the greats. Come fight night, it would not be the videos or the weigh-in reports that mattered. It would be which preparation turned into moments, the split-second decisions, the iron lungs, and the courage to take and to give, and for all the buildup that was where a fight was truly won. Meanwhile, boxing icon Roy Jones Jr. shared his bold prediction before the fight. While there had been plenty of talk about the weight difference, Bud moving up quite a bit, Jones Jr. believed that Crawford had put on enough muscle that it shouldn't be a major factor in the bout. He said, "Terence has been bulking up to the weight just like I did as a heavyweight. If he can deal with super middleweights and light heavyweights in training, you can deal with them in the fight. The weight should not even be an issue." During an interview with The Ring, Jones Jr. admitted that if money were on the line, he'd have to bet on Crawford, noting that the American fighter had far more ways to secure a win than the Mexican superstar. He said, "If Canelo fights the absolute correct fight that he can fight, he does have a chance, and I think he could be victorious. If he doesn't, Crawford has 6 ways that he can win it. My money would go with a guy who has 6 ways to win it, over the man who has 1 way of winning." Jones Jr. didn't just talk to The Ring about the upcoming super fight. He also appeared on All the Smoke, where he once again raised doubts about Canelo. The former 4-weight world champion believed Crawford remained hungry and determined to accomplish more in boxing, but he wasn't convinced that Canelo still had that same drive, though he didn't elaborate on why he felt that way. Considering all the obstacles Crawford faced, moving up to a new weight class, dealing with ring rust, and navigating a difficult stylistic matchup, it marked the first time he wasn't able to assert his dominance and overwhelm his opponent at will. That led some to wonder if Crawford had already reached his physical peak and whether his most dominant performances might now be behind him. In Canelo's case, he was coming off a lackluster unanimous decision win over William Skull, a fight that set CompuBox records for all the wrong reasons, mostly tied to his offensive inactivity. While much of the blame falls on Skull, who spent most of the fight circling the ring to avoid engagement, Canelo's performance still raised questions about his ability to cut off the ring and his drive in the later stages of his career. Questions about a fighter's ability based on their most recent performance have come up countless times before career-defining nights, and more often than not, they've been dismissed as overreactions by observers chasing false leads. In reality, one could argue that to achieve the longevity and success necessary to be remembered as a Hall of Famer, a fighter must navigate these storms of doubt and emerge stronger at least once in their career. Meanwhile, Jeff Horn has shared his prediction for Canelo versus Crawford. He recalled how Crawford claimed his first world welterweight title by knocking Horn out in the 9th round back in 2018, and Horn believes Canelo will likely try to start fast and overwhelm Crawford from the outset. He can, however, also envision Bud surviving the storm, outwitting Canelo, and ultimately defeating the Mexican in the subsequent rounds. Horn told Fight Hub TV, it's either going to be a stoppage early for Canelo, just trying to batter Crawford because of the size difference, or Crawford outsmarts him in there and clips him and tires him out using his boxing skills and potentially finishes Canelo later in the fight like he did with myself. Speaking of Crawford's chances of finishing Canelo, he said, he's got super accurate shots, and if he's able to weather the storm early from Canelo, if that's what Canelo's strategy is, that could tire him out. That would allow a window for Terence Crawford to start seeing if he is able to pick the holes and land the good shots. He could certainly tire Canelo out and stop him later in the fight. It's definitely possible. Meanwhile, we know that boxing legend and former world champion Andre Ward is widely regarded as one of the sharpest minds in the sport. His expertise has secured him a role as an analyst for the Netflix broadcast of the showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Ward has detailed what he expects to see when Canelo and Crawford meet in the ring before, as he said on his Instagram story last month. One of Canelo's greatest strengths is his ring presence. Even when he's resting, he's coming forward looking as if he's in control. This has the ability to unnerve and drain his opponents because they feel like they can never rest. He also added, both Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez are puncher boxers, not boxer punchers. They both can box, but that's really not what they want to do. They want to inflict damage. When they do box, they are either resting, regrouping, or getting in position to do what they really want to do. But come September, I believe both fighters need to be boxer punchers. They can both get to the power game, but they can't be reckless about it. In that earlier analysis, Ward did not make a clear forecast about who he believed would prevail in the fight. Ward, however, made his prediction clear during an August 29th interview with Fight Hype, sending a strong message about who he believes will come out on top. He said, I'm going with Terence Crawford. Big weight jump. A dangerous fight. But somebody has got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will, and that he can't figure it out in there against you. It ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You've got to show me that you can beat him. Ryan Garcia, appearing on the August 29th episode of Cigar Talk, said that he believed Bud would do well and land plenty of punches, but that he did not expect Bud to win. He added that while Bud might be able to tag Canelo, those shots would likely have no effect.
Bud's going to do good. He's going to do good, but I don't think he's going to win. But I do see Bud, like, getting a lot of punches off, being able to tag Canelo with some good shots, but they have no effect. That's the thing.
He has the best chin that I've ever seen.
And nothing moves his head.
In his ultimate prediction of how the fight would play out, Garcia added that Crawford was a great fighter, one of the best, but he thought Crawford might be biting off a little more than he could chew against Canelo.
One of the best. I just think that he's biting a little bit more than he could chew. But you never know. If anybody can do it, it could be Crawford. You know, I do see him, like, when he fights, I'm like, damn, how do you beat this guy? You know, he could do it all. He could box. He could bang.
Garcia, who once expected Canelo to come out on top, now appears to be changing his stance or recognizing that Canelo faces a far tougher challenge than he originally suggested. My problem with Canelo is his intensity. He doesn't have the same intensity that he used to have, and I think that's going to be the biggest issue for me, Garcia said, per an X-post from DAZN Boxing. Garcia continued, can he still counterpunch? Yes. Can he still be slick? Yes.